There is a version of you that you have not met yet. A version that wakes up before excuses have a chance to speak. A version that does not negotiate with laziness, does not beg for motivation, and does not wait until life feels perfect before taking action. But right now, that version of you is buried. Buried under distractions. Buried under unfinished promises. Buried under nights where you said, "Tomorrow I'll change," then woke up and repeated the same life again. And the painful truth is this. Most people do not fail because they are weak. They fail because they keep depending on a feeling that disappears. Motivation. Motivation is powerful for a moment. It can make you excited. It can make you dream. It can make you imagine a new life. But it cannot carry you through the boring days. It cannot save you when nobody is clapping. It cannot rescue you when your old habits come back whispering, "Just quit." That is why you don't need more motivation. You need a version of you that refuses to quit. In the next few minutes, you are going to understand why your life keeps feeling stuck, even when you know exactly what you should be doing. You will see how distraction is stealing your future quietly. How comfort is training you to avoid the very life you say you want. And how real transformation does not happen in public, under bright lights, with everyone cheering. It happens silently. In the room where nobody sees you. In the morning when your body wants the bed. In the moment when the old you reaches for the phone, the snack, the excuse, the easy escape. And the new you says, "No. Not today." This is not about becoming perfect. This is about becoming unrecognizable to the version of you that kept giving up. So listen closely. Because somewhere inside you, there is still a person who remembers what you were supposed to become. Most people think their biggest problem is lack of motivation. It is not. Their biggest problem is that their attention has been stolen. Your life follows your focus. Where your attention goes every day, your future quietly follows. And that is scary, because most people do not spend their attention on building their life. They spend it reacting to noise. One notification. One video. One scroll. One message. One more episode. One more distraction dressed up as relaxation. And at first, it does not look dangerous. You tell yourself, it's only 10 minutes. But 10 minutes becomes an hour. An hour becomes a habit. A habit becomes a lifestyle. And one day you look around and realize years have passed, but you are still standing in the same place, holding the same dreams, making the same excuses. That is not bad luck. That is repeated distraction. You were not destroyed in one dramatic moment. You were drained slowly. By tiny choices that looked harmless. Think about it. Nobody wakes up and says, "Today I will ruin my potential." Nobody plans to waste 5 years. It happens quietly. You delay the workout once. You avoid the hard conversation once. You skip the project once. You choose comfort once. Then once becomes normal. And normal becomes identity. This is why you have to understand something deeply. Every day, you are not just spending time. You are voting for the person you are becoming. When you scroll for 3 hours, you are voting for a distracted version of yourself. When you show up even for 20 minutes, you are voting for a disciplined version of yourself. When you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you teach your brain, "I can trust me." And that trust is where real confidence begins. Here is the first cliffhanger most people avoid. Your dream life may not be far away because you lack talent. It may be far away because you keep giving your best energy to things that will not matter next week. Your comfort zone does not look like a prison. That is why it is so dangerous. It looks like safety. It looks like routine. It looks like, "I'm just tired today." It looks like, "I'll start when I feel ready." It looks like, "I don't want to fail." But underneath all of that, your comfort zone is making one quiet deal with you. It says, "Stay here, and I will protect you from discomfort." But what it does not tell you is this. It will also protect you from growth. It will protect you from confidence. It will protect you from the life you keep imagining when the room is quiet and nobody is watching. Comfort is not evil. You need rest. You need peace. You need recovery. But comfort becomes dangerous when it becomes your master. Because the life you want is almost always on the other side of something uncomfortable. A difficult workout. A focused study session. A business idea that might fail. A skill that makes you feel like a beginner. A conversation you keep avoiding. A version of yourself that demands more honesty than your excuses can survive. And here is what most people do not understand about the brain. Your brain is not designed to chase greatness first. It is designed to protect you. It prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar progress. That means even if your current life hurts, your mind may still choose it because at least it knows how this pain works. That is why change feels strange. That is why growth feels uncomfortable. That is why the first week of discipline can feel like a battle between two versions of you. The old version says, "This is too hard." The new version says, "This is exactly why we have to do it." And this is the moment where your future is decided. Not when you feel inspired. Not when the timing is perfect. But when comfort asks you to stay small. And you refuse. You don't need motivation, you need a version of you that refuses to quit. Real change is usually quiet. It does not always look dramatic. It does not always come with applause. Sometimes it looks like deleting the app that keeps stealing your attention. Sometimes it looks like drinking water instead of reaching for something that makes you feel worse. Sometimes it looks like opening the laptop after work, even though nobody would blame you for being tired. Sometimes it looks like walking alone while everyone else is sleeping. And that is why most people miss it. They are waiting for a transformation that looks cinematic from the outside. But the most powerful transformations happen before anyone notices. There is a season in your life where you have to stop explaining yourself. Stop announcing every goal. Stop trying to convince people that you are changing. Just change. Silently. Privately. Consistently. Because the more you talk about becoming better, the easier it becomes to feel like you already did something. Talking gives you a small emotional reward. But action changes reality. There is power in becoming mysterious to people who thought they knew your limits. Let them think you are the same. Let them underestimate you. Let them expect the old version. Meanwhile, you are building. You are training your mind. You are sharpening your habits. You are becoming harder to distract, harder to discourage, harder to break. And one day, people will look at you and say, "You changed." But they will not see the nights. They will not see the moments you wanted to quit. They will not see how many times you chose discipline with no audience. That is fine. Because this was never about proving something to them. It was about proving something to yourself. Here is the second cliffhanger. The strongest version of you is not created by one massive decision. It is created by small promises you keep when quitting would be easier. So how do you become that version of yourself? Not by changing everything overnight. That is where people fail. They get emotional, make a huge plan, try to rebuild their entire life in 1 week, then collapse when reality becomes uncomfortable. Real transformation is not built from intensity. It is built from identity. You do not ask, "What do I feel like doing?" You ask, "What would the version of me who refuses to quit do right now?" That one question can change everything. When your alarm rings, ask it. When you want to skip the gym, ask it. When you want to waste another hour, ask it. When you are about to break a promise to yourself, ask it. What would the version of me who refuses to quit do right now? Then do the smallest version of that action. Not perfect. Just honest. If you cannot work out for an hour, do 10 push-ups. If you cannot study for 3 hours, study for 25 minutes. If you cannot build the whole business today, complete one serious task. If you cannot fix your entire life, clean your room, write the plan, make the call, take the walk. Small action is not small when it breaks the pattern. The old you is not defeated by thinking. The old you is defeated by evidence. Every time you show up, you create evidence. Evidence that you are changing. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that discomfort does not control you anymore. Here are 3 mental exercises you can start today. First, the 2-minute refusal. When you feel the urge to quit, delay quitting for 2 minutes. Just 2. Tell yourself, I can quit later, but not right now. Most urges are waves. They rise, they peak, then they fall. If you can survive the first wave, you can often keep going. Second, the identity journal. Every night, write 1 sentence. Today, I proved I am becoming the type of person who. Then finish it honestly. Keeps promises. Chooses focus. Does hard things. Does not disappear when life gets uncomfortable. This trains your brain to see progress, and progress creates momentum. Third, the future self pause. Before any decision, pause for 5 seconds and ask, is this helping the future me, or feeding the old me? That question is uncomfortable. That is why it works. Because most bad decisions need speed. They need you to act before you think. But when you pause, you interrupt the old pattern. And when you interrupt the old pattern enough times, you stop being controlled by it. You begin to become someone new. Every strong person you admire has a silent chapter. A chapter where nobody understood the work. A chapter where the results were invisible. A chapter where quitting would have made perfect sense. Athletes have mornings where their bodies hurt and nobody is watching. Writers have drafts nobody reads. Entrepreneurs have failures nobody claps for. Students have lonely nights where focus feels impossible. Parents rebuild their lives quietly while carrying responsibilities nobody sees. And throughout history, the people who created meaningful change were rarely people who felt motivated every day. They were people who kept going when the feeling disappeared. Nelson Mandela spent years in prison before he ever saw the change he was fighting for. He was not carried by daily excitement. He was carried by conviction. And that is the difference. Motivation says, I will do it when I feel ready. Conviction says, I will do it because this is who I am now. You need conviction. You need standards. You need a version of you that does not abandon the mission just because the day became hard. So let's bring this back to you. If you want to become unrecognizable, stop chasing motivation like it is the missing piece. Motivation is a spark. But identity is the fire. Distraction weakens you because it fragments your focus. Comfort controls you because it trains you to avoid discomfort. Silent transformation strengthens you because it builds proof before praise. Daily habits change you because they turn discipline into evidence. And evidence changes identity. Psychologically, your brain learns from repetition. Not from one emotional speech. Not from one perfect plan. Not from one night of inspiration. It learns from what you repeatedly do. When you repeatedly quit, your brain expects quitting. When you repeatedly show up, your brain starts expecting strength. This is how confidence is built. Not by pretending you are fearless. But by watching yourself act even when fear is present. Not by waiting for self-belief. But by creating reasons to believe yourself. That is why the smallest disciplined action matters. Because it is not just an action. It is a vote. A message. A quiet declaration. I am no longer available for the version of me that keeps giving up. And when you repeat that long enough, your life begins to change. Slowly at first. Then suddenly. Not because magic happened. But because you stopped abandoning yourself. So here is your challenge. For the next 24 hours, do not try to fix your whole life. Do not make a dramatic promise. Do not wait for Monday. Do not wait for confidence. Just choose one thing you have been avoiding. One workout. 1 hour of focus. One honest conversation. One task. One decision that the future version of you would respect. And when your old self tries to pull you back, do not argue with it. Do not negotiate. Do not explain. Just say, "Not today." Not today to the excuses. Not today to the distractions. Not today to the comfort zone that made your life smaller. Not today to quitting on yourself again. Because the world does not need another motivated person who disappears after 3 days. It needs the version of you that stays. The version of you that keeps going when the music stops. The version of you that becomes disciplined in silence, focused under pressure, and strong without needing attention. And maybe that version feels far away right now. But it is not. It is built in the next choice. Then the next. Then the next. So before you leave this video, ask yourself one question. What would my life look like 1 year from today if I stopped quitting on myself? Sit with that. Because 1 year will pass either way. And when it does, you will be standing in front of proof. Proof that you changed. Or proof that you stayed the same. If this message found you at the right time, subscribe, because the next video will help you reset your mind before the world programs it for you. But right now, do one thing. Close this video and take the first action immediately. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now. Because you don't need motivation. You need a version of you that refuses to quit. And the final truth is this. The life you want is not waiting for a more motivated you, it is waiting for a more committed you.